Now we're about to see an Israeli-American strike in Iran. President Donald Trump declared, if Iran doesn't make a deal, it will be bombed. And these will be bombs that it had never seen before. For its part, Iran has denied direct negotiations with the United States on a new nuclear deal, but not indirect talks. And now, the president is escalating his threats. It appears to be a clash between American determination and Iranian paranoia, while Israeli intelligence thinks that the decisive moments are approaching. President Trump is definitely increasing pressure on Iran, and it seems to be working as the Ayatollah regime is in panic mode. And meanwhile, the military power deployed by the Pentagon in the region is reaching critical mass, with aircraft carriers in the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf, and another one on its way. In Tehran, they're threatening that Iran's missiles are ready to be launched, even towards Israel, but also towards the British and American forces deployed on the Indian Ocean island of Diego Garcia. An Iranian official threatened that there will be no distinction between British or American forces if Iran is attacked from any base in this area. With all that in mind, a tsunami of violence is expected to happen in the Middle East 1 minute after Iran's nuclear facilities are hit. In the Gaza Strip, Hamas terrorists are falling like dominoes, and the organization is in great distress as senior Israeli officials declare that if Hamas agrees to the Witkoff outline, we will discuss Phase B of the ceasefire agreement. But if Hamas does not respond to the proposal soon, the military pressure will increase. And meanwhile, in the Gaza Strip, reports surfaced that 9 terrorists were eliminated in an Israeli Air Force strike over the past 24 hours, as the army is also preparing for a more significant territorial hold inside Gaza in the event that negotiations will collapse. And closer to home, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hosted his Greek counterpart in Jerusalem on Sunday and discussed, among other things, deepening the regional cooperation. Further afield, the dramatic results of the strikes against the Houthis in Yemen are being revealed. So we have a lot to talk about today, so let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on day 542 of the war against Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, the Shiite militias in Iraq, and all the other armed groups in this region who are operating under the control of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, which is the head of the axis of evil in the Middle East. And a moment before we begin, I want to invite you to click the subscribe button so that you stay tuned to the truth in real time and never miss another episode of Boots on the Ground. I also want to invite you to join the efforts to restore, renew, and rebuild together. You can be part of the mission by visiting tbn.org/rebuildisrael. So let's begin with the increasing tensions surrounding Iran, as the moves by the United States in the Arabian Gulf and the Middle East are very significant. The United States military is amassing forces and capabilities in preparation for a possible strike on Iran. This includes the deployment of the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman and its battle group. The USS Carl Vinson and its battle group are on their way to the region from the Far East and will soon be within striking distance from Iran and from Yemen. And another carrier battle group is also being prepared for regional deployment. These ships operating in waters close to Iran and Yemen allow the United States to operate high-speed, high-power intensity combat operations that Iran will have difficulty responding to. Even greater firepower to bear on Iran from the Indian Ocean island base of Diego Garcia. Diego Garcia Island is the largest of the Chago Island chain in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and it is part of the British Indian Ocean Territory. In practice, it hosts both a naval base and a large Air Force base jointly operated by the United States and British forces. And according to reports, B-2 Spirit bombers are currently stationed there. This is a powerful and unique stealth aircraft capable of carrying a very wide array of munitions, including bunker buster bombs and even nuclear weapons. The power of the United States military in the region is currently a critical mass, and Israel's intelligence echelon assesses that the forces already deployed are capable of crushing Iran's military, which is large but poorly equipped and poorly trained. For instance, the Iranian Air Force is still flying planes that Iran bought from the United States before the Islamic Revolution in 1979. The helicopter that was carrying the Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi when it crashed last May was one such aircraft. The president of Iran had no better options than to fly around in a 40-year-old helicopter, and you see what happened to him. Now, imagine that lower-ranked Iranian officers, not to even mention ordinary soldiers, have to work with that. Even
cash loan
with that. Even some of the more modern equipment that the Iranian forces have, such as the S-400 air defensive batteries that they bought from Russia a few years ago, were almost completely destroyed by Israel's strikes on Iran on October 26th of last year. Still, Iran possesses thousands of missiles and tens of thousands of UAVs, some of which can fly thousands of kilometers. And in addition, Iran continues to support militias in Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Yemen, and Lebanon, although many of these militias have also been diminished in the past war against Israel and in this region over the last year and a half, and I'm talking about especially Hezbollah in Lebanon. So with all of this in mind, the United States President Donald Trump escalated his threats against Iran on Sunday afternoon in an interview with NBC on the same day that Iran announced that it is refusing direct negotiations with him on a new nuclear deal, but signaled openness to indirect talks. President Trump signaled impatience with this game, and he said that if they don't make a deal, there will be bombings like they've never seen before. However, President Trump also noted that American and Iranian officials are talking now, but it's unclear whether that meant direct talks, which Iran has rejected for now. And over the weekend, Tehran announced that it responded to the letter that Trump sent to Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, and through a message conveyed via Oman, expressed willingness to indirect negotiations, but insisted that direct dialogue with the United States cannot take place while threats and sanctions continue. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian also spoke on Sunday, saying that in response to Trump's message, we confirmed that we reject direct negotiations, but the path to indirect dialogue remains open. The behavior of the American officials will determine the course of the negotiations. This is according to the Iranians. Let us recall that after President Trump threatened military actions against the Iranian regime if it fails to reach a deal with the United States on its nuclear program, a senior Iranian military official told the Telegraph that Tehran would strike the United States-British joint naval base at Diego Garcia in response to any American attack. American officials do not seem to be very impressed with these threats. And if I can give you my own personal opinion, I don't think that anyone else should take these threats very seriously either. The Iranian regime has talked itself into believing it has a military power to successfully attack the Americans, but there are very good reasons to believe that this simply is not the case. Maybe they think that if they get into a fight with the Americans, their Russian and Chinese allies will come to their aid, but I doubt that will happen either. The Iranians are making a very foolish mistake by refusing President Trump's offer for negotiations, and soon we might see them suffering the consequences of this mistake. But in any case, guys, here at TBN Israel, we will continue to be monitoring the situation and every development in this situation and update you And as always, we ask you to stay tuned to the truth about what is happening in Israel by pressing that subscribe button, helping us reach more people and sharing what is happening here in Israel. The most important